guys, today we're going to mod these lights, these LEDs. To do that, what you want to do is you want to take a nice wide plastic pry tool. Now today it's raining, that's why I have the microfiber cloth and the tape to cover up the hole. But what you want to do is you want to take the pry bar, or the pry tool, and come at it from either end so that you can easily push in the clip so it won't rip the paint as it comes off. Just one end. Once you pop it loose, you're able to pop it this way and then slide it out of the other side. And then you just unplug it, take it inside, and we'll go from there. And the items you'll need today are going to be a good soldering iron, obviously a stand to hold it, some solder, the LEDs, which, one second here, which are number 3528 SMD LEDs. They come in, this is only part of the strip. I cut it down so I don't have as much of this cellophane to deal with. But they come in packs of 50 to 100. I believe, yeah, that's 100 of them. So there's that. I've got so many colors here because I do this professionally. But yeah, a screwdriver to push up all of these little clips that hold it in, and then also the clips on the ends. Don't forget those. So I'd suggest working from this one, then this one, then this one, then work your way down. We get it. You get an idea of screwdriver size that I was using for this job. I mean small. Because it allows you to get just behind there, and it's not thick enough where it's gonna break the plastic. You'll hear a snap, and that's literally just the clip coming loose. If you hear two snaps, you've gone too far. Anyway, so that's off. Then obviously just this comes off. And what you need the solder sucker for is those 6 solder points, because they run through the plug and out to there. Now, the lovely thing about it being offset like that, you really can't screw up where they go. So just suck the solder off so you can get the board out. Because on this one, the LEDs are soldered onto the back side. And we're going to have to do something fancy with those LEDs. I wish I had better lighting. But in the process of moving, and don't really have it. Anyway, so to remove the solder points, now I put this back on so I could go outside and test it. The clearances on these are tight, and you can see I burnt it a little bit, but I don't think it's affected the leads. Well, it hasn't affected the leads at all, because I put it back on to go test it and see if the clearance was tight enough, so I can go test it without having test and see if all the lights are working. Now all of these are actually a dim green. Or change them into a nice bright blue. Now what I did first was I tried adding a little bit of solder, because there's not a lot for the pump to work, but my pump wasn't working very well. It wasn't sucking a lot of anything. I have since taken it apart and it might work better now, but In the process, I went out and got some desoldering braid, just Alpha Wick, just Ace hardware stuff. Now that worked amazing with a little bit of solder paste on the end to help suck up the solder that's on the board. What you're really looking for, let's see if I can get close enough in focus, is a small air gap. That's all you're gonna get, is a small gap around there, or as close as you can get to just the pin. Now these are square pins, and they're really hard to tell if you've gotten it all off. What you're going to use is the same screwdriver you used to take it out of here, out of the bezel. What you're going to do is you're going to pry it out, because it's such a tight clearance that just press fit. I took this board out already and put it back in. The buttons will still work. Soldering is a mere formality at this point, because the buttons work, the lights light up, allowing you to test and make sure that all the LEDs that you've replaced them with are working. Now, there's only 5 LEDs on this. Hopefully 8 LEDs is enough. So I'll come back when it's pulled out. Alright, now here's the front of the board. The buttons go on this side. LEDs are soldered on the back, which, 1, really sucks, and 2 is actually halfway okay. But what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to get your soldering iron. Now you're gonna want to have 2 hands. You're not gonna want to record while you do this. Certainly not gonna want to try and look through the camera. What you're gonna want to do, you're gonna want to heat up the pad to where the solder is loose, and then you're gonna take a set of tweezers and pull that that side of the LED off. Repeat on the other side. Now I've got a set of helping hands. That's going to help me hold the board at a much more reasonable level, so I don't continue to burn my nice desk. I think it adds a little bit of character though. This is a little out of order, but what you want to do with the braid is you want to stick it between the pins and heat it up there, kind of rocking the iron back and forth to get as much solder from the sides as possible. And you go to this side, and then you go in between, and then this side, being very careful to not melt the plastic too much. And if you do, make sure that the inside edge will still allow the rubber buttons to go into place. Yeah, you just go on either side and in between, and that should get off as much solder as necessary to take it off, because after that point there's like no getting the solder off. And just keep prying, gently prying. After you get it off the first time, every time after that is easy, which is why soldering is necessary. Anyway, I'll get back when I have the LEDs swapped. Something mostly for me to remember, but the 3 on the long side of the board have their polarity facing, or their polarity triangle facing to the short side, and likewise the short side has them pointing to the long side. Now what you'll want to do with the world's smallest LEDs don't need a bunch of links showing me smaller ones. Alright, that's the LED. See the polarity triangle? Yeah, that's what I was talking about in the last little clip. These contacts here, if they'll focus, it's hard to focus on something so small. The contacts here, you'll want at least something similar to the nails I have, and pry it open, pry it out, and then fold it back around on itself so that that's so hard to hold. So that the contact actually lays flat on. Wow, okay, come on. Focus. So that the contact is flat towards the front. So what I've done is I've heated up one pad, took the pliers, pulled up one side, and now I'm doing it to the other side, keeping my mind set on which side has the polarity, and then I put all of the LEDs in their polar order. Prep is what helps the most, and I've got these surgical tweezers that my buddy got me from the hospital. Unused, thankfully. Anyway, onward with the install. Now these LEDs are slightly smaller, so you're going to have to add a little bit of solder to the pad. Because as you can tell, these pads have like no solder, and of course you're going to have to hold on to it really tight with the set of tweezers that you're using. So tweezers are necessary because the solder will pull the LED into it, and you want it to be as centered as possible so you don't have to bridge any gaps. Anyway, I'll come back when it's all done. Okay, so this is what it'll look like after it's all said and done. One small issue I've noticed is occasionally the 2, 3, and the second button and the fourth button light up like halfway, like a dim light, but they do shut off after a while, so it's not a real big concern for me. I don't know how to fix it. I've tried replacing the LEDs, and all I did was actually break the board, so now I need to buy a new one. Just one note, do make sure that you have all of the solder out of those holes. And if it's not coming up easily, keep removing more solder. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.